Welcome back. We are Nagarjuna's investigators. It's May 28th, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you. Smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiating from them. That beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize that the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Studying karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. and that longing into an intention. And that intention into a determination. Then turn your mind back to that precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. And they're so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the pure and perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in this investigation and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in this investigation and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this investigation and the rest, may all beings reach their total awakening for the benefit of every single other. Guess who's at the top of my screen? Elsie, would you share the opening with us, please?
Sorry, Lama. I really need my history's help. That's why I need to read it all the time. Here I've made a song for you on the very root of the middle way, which I call wisdom. In the language of India, this text is called Prasna Namamula Madhyamaka Karika. In the language of Tibet, it is known as Uma Sevi Siklo Japasra. In English, we call it wisdom, a song on the root of the middle way. I bow down to Manjushri, the glorious gentle voice in his skies as a teenage girl.
Thank you. And Joanna, 1.1.
I bow down to that highest of teachers, to the fully enlightened one, who teaches us to reach that peace where our fantasies about how things exist are put to a final rest.
Roxana, 1.2, please.
My pleasure. Thank you, dear Lama. I bow to the one who taught us that things happen in dependence. Nothing ends and nothing begins. Nothing stops, but nothing ever lasts forever. Nothing comes and nothing goes. No two things are different, nor are any two the same.
Pauline, please.
Sure, teacher. Nothing grows from itself, nothing grows from something else, nothing grows from both, and nothing grows without a cause. There's nothing at all that grows at all.
And so Arya Nagarjuna goes on to talk about all the worldly kinds of things that we believe are the causes of other things and addresses each one of them to help us question, how can those things really be the causes we think they are? And the conclusion, the words of the conclusion is, causes have no natures. None of those causes have any natures. And our mind says, no natures at all. That would mean they don't exist at all. But that's not what no nature means, right? And again, it's worth, it could take our class right into that. It's like, well, they don't exist at all? At all, at all? And we go, no, they don't exist in the way that we think that they exist. But that just makes it easier for us to continue to hold belief that they exist in some way. And we go, yeah, they exist as projections. But then, I don't know about you, but my mind gloms onto that and says, yeah. So see that they are real. And then I'm right back to hearing myself say real and thinking they have some tangibleness to them, whatever it is, I don't even know. But, it's so hard to really be in that middle way between things don't exist in them from them, but it's not that they don't exist at all. And we add words to try to explain it to ourselves. But in the end, it's true, there's no such thing as a cause. Everything depends on causes, and there's no such thing as causes for them to depend on. And it's just so hard to say, okay, I can live by that. Like, I can't live by that yet. So that's why, thank you for going through this again and again and again. Because every time we do, we crack a little more crack into that belief that there has to be something there that's empty. And that's true. But when I hear myself say that, I glom onto the something there that's empty instead of glomming onto the empty so something can be there. But even when I'm thinking that, I feel my mind go, oh, so there's this big emptiness that everything comes out of. And it's like, well, no, not that either. Where do I rest? Where can I finally find something that I can like sit down on and go, okay, finally, I got there. And it's like, there isn't any such a thing. And if I keep looking for it, I'm going to keep making myself crazy. And yet to say, okay, I need none of that. It feels like free fall. and free fall's scary. So no causes. Really. Causes with no natures at all. Yes, Janet.
They like when we share real life personal stories. So in a fit of frustration, I quit my job. I applied for jobs. I got rejected from one. I decided I would interview carefully. I interviewed for another. They rejected me yesterday. There's a nursing strike in Merida right now. And there's just a lot of dynamics and pieces. I'm not omniscient. I don't know what's going on. I probably didn't interview the best because I'm a caregiver, but I'm not a nurse. So I've been doing stuff like laundry and cleaning, and CNA stuff is more like taking vitals. So I wasn't the best candidate. And it's possible that one of the criteria of the strike was if Meritor said, if you go on strike, we'll take away your health insurance. So I I wondered, well, maybe I interviewed badly, and that way somebody could get a job that needed it, that needed that health insurance. But I don't know. And then you said if there's a pause, meditate on it because it's a reversal. Nothing changed for me. All I did was go on these interviews and I thought I was going to get a job and I was happy. And then I didn't get a job and I was kind of a little bit in shock and unhappy. And you said then that's the pause right there. That
Right.
that you said things are one way and then they're another way. But it's all coming from my mind that I think they're one way and then they're really
Right.
not one way. And because I have,
Right.
I don't have omniscience, that's why I suffer, because I didn't see that
Exactly.
these things are happening.
Yes. Yes. And you're in this pause between the next opportunity that's going to be better than either one of those other two anyway. And so when it comes along, you'll look back and go, well, thank goodness I didn't get those other two because
So
they're
I'm surrounded by llamas, and my Ne Lama and my Pilates teacher said, stay where you are. When things are really volatile, it's good to be quiet. And I'm like, I've been quiet since 2021. And they're like, fair enough. But
yeah.
interestingly enough, I'm going back. I'm asking my employer, can we work things out for a year and a half while I go to school for PTA? And then
Oh,
my Ne Lama said, going to school for work is something to do in your 20s, not when you're 56. So he observed that too, but he didn't tell me not to do it because he's an academic. He's all for learning, but
yeah.
he thinks the timing of this is wrong with my age, and then he left it at that. So maybe the new thing won't. And then the real question is, who am I supposed to help? Because we're all
Yeah.
here to help people, but we can't necessarily help everyone. So who am I here to help? And I don't know who I'm here to help with all this. That's still a active question. But at this time, I meditate on when I got the news that I got rejected. Why did I have this sinking feeling? Why did I feel bad? Why would I? Nothing has changed. Doug doesn't like that I talk about being a kept woman, but I don't have to pay rent. He supports me. So it's not like he supports me so I have sex with him. He says it implies that. So I'll subtract that language. But
Okay.
if the money is not really an issue and I'm really just exploring possibilities, and people say when you interview, it's good to practice. Perhaps this was a practice one for some future ones.
Mhm.
Why would I even feel bad? Why would I? This is just
Yeah.
life. But there
Mhm.
was the ego, the self, the
Yeah.
person that wanted to get rewarded felt bad. And it's like you said, take a day off and just meditate on what's going on.
Yeah, good. Good, good. Good for you. Good for you.
Janet, yesterday we had Mahamudra class, and at the end, we were discussing about devotion. And early in the morning, when I was doing my altar, I was really requesting my Holy Lama to please give me some sort of information, some compass to how I'm going to be starting next week's class. And I received the instruction. He said, your mind is empty and it's completely awakened. Listen to the instructions, but listen with a devoted listening. and with a virtuous mind full of faith. So, not just sitting here in class, but change the seats, change that interaction uh, with everything that happens in our mind. Just listen to it with a virtuous mind and completely full of faith. So I really like that what came out of it, and I think that for all of us, in certain circumstances, we forget.
Yeah.
We forget that.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me share. So I'll try, I do my best in listening to you, dear Lama. Not hearing you, but listen and see if I am understanding,
Mhm.
but with more devotion from now on, and with a more virtuous mind, and with more full of faith that we're going to crack this open completely for all of us to see emptiness
Yeah.
directly.
That we are cracking it open.
We are cracking it open.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, nice, nice, nice.
But it,
Oh.
Lama Sarani asks us to do some analysis too. She doesn't just say, just follow directions. She says to kind of look a little bit more deeply, which I've never really done. I very surface level. So this is all very new for me. Like, how do you do a proper analysis? And what I find is it takes energy and it takes time to do a proper analysis.
Mhm.
It does, but I think that I wish I could stay all day and just study, but I can't. I mean, I have other obligations as well. But we're here and we continue being here. So at our level, at least at my level, I'm doing my best at this, listening carefully and try to understand what's going on. So we're trying. And a proper analysis, I don't know what's proper. It's something, you know. What's proper, Lemma?
I think a proper analysis would be an analysis where we keep questioning and keep questioning. We apply our intellectual understanding and then keep thinking, well, if this was true, what would be the ramification of that? And that's the analysis, right? There isn't one that's proper at any given moment, because for each of us, how to think through the ramifications of a statement, it's all dependent on our own, personal life experience. So, I mean, like the bottom line one is, what's the ramification of the yelling bosses, yelling boss unpleasantness being in them, from them? The ramification is everybody has to experience her the same way. And is that true? Well, yeah, every human getting yelled at like she's yelling at me, it would be unpleasant. But it's like, is that really true? Could there be somebody who really likes to be corrected by being yelled at? Is it possible? Sure. Stupid, right? Wouldn't be me, but somebody. Like, what about her dog? The dog could be there getting yelled at, and the dog's going, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But, right, in the dog's mind, the tail's wagging because they're getting attention. Well, how can the same thing, right? It, like anything that we need to use to show ourselves that our belief about the thing that we're investigating can't hold water because there's somebody who would experience it a different way. That's the usual analysis that I use when I'm looking for the thing I'm blaming something on. but it's not like the only analysis one could do. Lots of different ones. So the key would be just keep questioning. Would everybody see it that way? You know, is it gonna be that for me every single time? And we'll come to this aha that it's like, no, I'm bringing something to the party. And maybe that's the conclusion right there that we needed. Or maybe we go, well, what is it that I'm bringing to the party? And we start again. You know, what's the thing that I'm bringing that they're seeing? Are they seeing it the same way I'm seeing it? And so we're really just thinking of the cause result. What would the result be if my belief was true? And is it really like that? Even in experience, is it like that? And we go, no, actually, I see, no. And then with Nagarjuna's chapters, he's taking us through all those different ways that are holding to things and me as having our nature in them, all the ways that we're still clinging to that, even as we follow his analysis about how whatever his topic is can't be happening in the way that we believe it is, then the ramification of that would be, and our ramification is an error. Right? It's based on our clinging to it can't be true that things have that, whatever the thing was, can't have any nature. If he had said it has no nature of its own, we'd be on board, right? Right, no nature of its own. It can be there with the nature I give it. That's more comfortable for all of us. Can I say that? The yelling boss can be there unique to me, but come on, there's a yelling boss there. That's unique to me. I got it. Okay. I'll be nicer, so I'll make fewer yelling bosses in the future, right? It'll get us there to let ourselves hold that, the subject, the object, the interaction have some nature of their own, just not the one I'm experiencing, because that one I'm bringing to the party. Do you see? That's functionalist school level emptiness dependent origination. It's extraordinary to get there, because we used to believe that's crazy. She's her, she's yelling, she's a jerk. Yeah, sometimes I like her, but mostly she's a jerk, right? We want to be right about that because it's painful to be wrong. It's painful to be rejected from a job interview, right? We don't want to admit we're wrong, but have we ever had a correct perception until seeing emptiness directly? No. Like I've always been wrong, and everything I've ever done to get what I want has been mistaken. Even when most of the time it gets me what I want in this life. And in a way that's unfortunate, because it lets me reinforce my misbelief that the way I reach out into my world to get things works, when it's only working as a result of some past kindness. Yes, Elsie.
Lama, I mean, sometimes when we feel so frustrated because we can't get the things that we want, and we can't find it in us to really sit down and think, oh, I'm just clearing some seeds. I'm 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 moving on, you know. So like for me, well, what I do now is I try to rejoice for somebody else getting something,
Yeah, good.
and then I dedicate it back to all those people who's looking for something that they want,
Yeah.
including myself. So
Nice.
I find that when I do that, I've been having a little bit of success, and
Nice.
I feel so much more better. You know, like especially now with the math department forecasting, we're gonna have hot weather and drought right up until maybe mid of 2026. Weather is super hot and dry, and with
Yeah.
the car air conditioning breaking down,
Yeah.
I've been driving around. I've been sweating a lot. So the first thing I want when I go out is to quickly find a spot where I can park and I can walk out of my car and go to wherever I want to go. So uh, initially, I feel very frustrated because, you know, the places I want to go to is always packed. And then Ken will tell me, can we not go there? Can we go to another place? I said, well, that is where we can get, you know, the things that I want to get. So what we do is, what I do is, I I I start I start rejoicing. I rejoice for all those people who got parking spaces. You know,
Yes.
so I'll be following the a few cars in behind a few cars, and then the first few will get their parking. And initially I said, oh, why not? It's me. Then I said, oh no, I should rejoice.
Right.
So I start rejoicing them getting parking and dedicating it to everyone else who's looking for parking, including myself. And after, like especially today was super hot, and then I was driving up, and then that lane we were going, two cars in front, they got their parking already, and I hit a T junction, and there was car, a car coming from the right, and I saw a parking space right next to the bank. And I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? Never mind, never mind. If it's his, let him have it. If it's not, that is fine. And sure enough, he just drove past it. He don't need
Oh,
the parking, and I got it.
oh, yay. I didn't expect that one.
And
Yeah.
I dedicated it out again to everybody who's looking for parking so that they get spots that they want. I mean, it took me a long time to get
Yes.
to this point where I can rejoice for others who gets things that they want. So I think, it's a start because we feel so frustrated for things that we don't get. And then maybe if we it might not be jobs that we want, but it could be others have getting jobs that they want, and we rejoice for them, and then
Right.
makes it feel better, and then
Right.
dedicate to everyone, including us who's looking for a job.
Yeah.
At least
So,
it comes down.
right. So we
I hope
can
this
help,
helps,
right.
Janet.
We can help Janet then by helping Janet rejoice in people who have received the job they've interviewed for because the job is a perfect fit for them.
Mm.
So are there people that you know who, where can we start with this? That you know have applied for a job and gotten it?
Mm.
Yes,
I,
lots of people, right? Anybody who has a job, applied for that job, and got their job. Yay. And then we can actually rejoice, dig in our heart and rejoice for whoever it is that got the jobs that Janet applied for and didn't get. She allowed them to get instead. And And even the fact that you thought of that, Janet, is great, because maybe there is somebody who needs that job in order to have their health insurance. And so you opened it up for them. And then we can rejoice too for all those positions that are open that are not the perfect fit for Janet. So she doesn't even need to go and be the competition for somebody else. Leave it there. Leave the parking spot open for that other. And son of a gun, they don't take it, and there it is for you. So not meaning the next job opportunity don't apply for, but we can find Janet the perfect job
Yes, dear
by
Lama.
rejoicing, right, in those who have gotten their perfect fit positions. Yay, they got that. Let's dedicate that to Janet.
I
Yeah,
mean, in
but
some ways, I was watching Mixed Nuts Monday at work, and I already have a job that's ideal because then I was on fire and I texted Roxana and I was so excited. But I couldn't have done that at the other job. But but I could have watched the Mixed Nuts recording and then been on fire and texted her later.
Janet, I watched the replay yesterday because then they sent you an email so you can watch the replay the next day. So thank you. I watched it yesterday. But I want to say something about Janet's job. She's going to go into the new job wiser, kinder, more with more kindness in her heart. She's going to be a totally new, perfect person. So that's why she didn't get this job, because she's going to be number one and she's going to excel in whatever position she gets in the next job.
Yes.
And I rejoice for that.
Right.
And I'm really happy for her.
Right. And she's taking that work to be helpful, to enjoy, to grow, to be challenged, right? To spread her love, which are great reasons to work. You know, instead of, oh, I have to work to pay my bills. I have to work to have my health insurance. I have to work to put my kids through school. I get to work. So let's get to do something that you enjoy doing, right?
Well, technically, I'm trying to help someone to receive an emptiness meditation, a teaching, to receive an emptiness teaching. And you said we don't have enough seeds to get the illumination of true intent, or, you know, entering the middle way, which just seems odd to me because a lot of the commentaries are based on entering middle way, and illumination of true intent is entering the middle way. It's based on those. So why wouldn't we have the seeds to do the ones that most people talk about? That seems weird to me.
I
But
know.
then you just get more seeds, I guess. We got to get more seeds.
Yeah, I mean, you point out such a great thing. It's like everybody gives their commentary, but nobody translates the actual text.
Well, we want the one from Geshe Michael because
Yeah,
the
we
other ones are perfectly fine. But even if we can cross-reference his to theirs, for some reason there's an unlocking. That's what my Ne Lama said. My Ne
Yeah.
Lama is a genius, but he didn't understand Buddhist teachings until he went to Geshe Michael's teachings. And he analyzed all this about whether I should be doing ACR or not. And because it worked for him, he's thinking it would work for me. But there's something about the way that I don't know if it's the lineage or you or his translation or all of it or something that we don't know. But there's something when he helps us, we understand it properly and we don't
Yeah.
just see the words. It's more than just that. So that's
Yeah.
just my observation.
Uh-huh.
So
I see.
I can read the text and the translations and other people's teachings, but it would be kind of cool if we could get the Illumination of True Intent by Jason Kappa, which is the Chandrakirti commentary on entering the
Yeah.
middle way. And it's because a lot of people, even not just mixed nuts, but Tim is translating the Lam Rim, and Pabonka Rinpoche, and he's saying that Je Tsongkhapa was told to look at Buddha Palaya and Chandrakirti. So even in the Lam Rim, it's referring back to Chandrakirti. And then if you get that kind of teaching at the Lam Rim, the next question is, well, maybe I should look at this book. Maybe I should look at Chandrakirti.
Good for you. Pauline, you've had your hand up for a long time. Thank you for being persistent.
Okay, teacher. I just want to point out when Janet had that thought that, you know, maybe someone needed the job more, required a job more importantly than her. And then she has this thought, it's also not from her. It's also a ripening of her seeds, past good seeds. Yeah, so it's a very good, very good thing. Yeah, because nowadays I catch myself better now in terms of like a certain thought coming, be it positive or negative. I'm able to catch it and remind myself and remember that it's a ripening of my seed as well. And it's not my thoughts. Like there is some self-nature in the thought. It's my thought. Yeah, it's a ripening of the seed. Yeah. So rejoice, Janet. And then I'd like to ask about analyzing, like when we have certain problems and certain things happening, then we are applying our seed wisdom, right? Are we supposed to like sit in lotus pose and then, you know, sit still? Because I prefer to do it when I'm showering somehow or doing laundry or driving. I know driving may be a bit dangerous, I don't know, but sometimes I don't know why when I'm driving I tend to take the time to analyze things, but most of the time is when I'm showering. So it's okay, right? Because I think when I'm showering and then when I'm like analyzing, you applying seed wisdom to whatever problems, or maybe in class I hear certain things, I like to think about it, like contemplate. And then I think in that sense, we don't have to sit in meditative pose. We are already in meditation mode, right? Am I right to say that?
Well, we would call it contemplation mode, right? We're thinking clearly, and we're thinking, you know, with some pretty clear single-pointed concentration. It wouldn't technically be called meditation, but it's great seeds for meditation.
Is the result not as good as like the actual meditative pose? Or I mean, what's the difference? Like, because I like to do it when I'm showering somehow or doing laundry. It's the time where somehow all these thoughts will, like, I will gather these thoughts and I take the time to contemplate somehow. I don't know why.
Right. No, that's fine. That's good. And it's not that what the aha you come up with is, you know, deficient in some way, but it shouldn't take the place of your formal meditative concentration practice where you're getting yourself, you're building the tools to be able to be in that single pointed concentration necessary to see emptiness directly, right? I mean, that's not going to happen in the shower. You're not going to suddenly go into the direct perception of emptiness in the shower. You need to be sitting still.
Okay, I see. I got it. Thanks. Okay, thanks.
So we got all the way up to chapter 9 last week, didn't we? Okay, I'm just going to scoot there. Close your eyes so you don't get seasick. Whee! Great, I'm going to go to the end of 9 so we can remember what it is. An investigation of who might have been there before. Sort of awkward. An investigation of who was there before. Before what? You could say, was it all about before this life? Where was me before this life? Or who was there before the desire for the triple berry pie arose? Right? Who was there before the boss started yelling at me? Who was there before? Like, don't we have to be there to want the triple berry pie? Doesn't the triple berry pie have to be there before I want it in order to want it? And somehow we got to this place where we were saying, I do so exist, right? That's our critique to each chapter. Yeah. In no nature of its own. What? I do so do things. This is about cause and effect, which is about function. And then, who cares whether cars function? I care whether I function. And if cars don't really function, and you apply that same logic to me, that means I don't really function. And that's ridiculous, Nagarjuna. I do things all day long. Even when I'm not doing something, I'm doing something, right? By not doing something. That's what it is to be, right? Is we do. So don't tell me, Nagarjuna, that I don't exist, that my doing, I never do anything. Is that what he's saying? No, not at all. He's giving us the tools for how it is that anything we seem to do actually happens, right? Without ever giving us the punchline. He's wanting us to either apply the punchline or figure out the punchline. And I'm not sure who his audience is. Every time we follow his conclusion and let our critique come up, and we go back and say, yes, but if I apply the words not from its own side or coming out of my seeds, then I understand it better. My critique will like lay down and say, okay, that's all right. Every time we do that, we've understood what we mean by from my seeds a little more accurately. So it feels like he really wants us to let our critique come up and say, no, I do so exist. And then go back and work it through with our own explanation to ourselves, such that our critique goes, okay, I'm all right with that. Because now our critique has conceded some of its tenaciousness every time we do that. So from chapter 8, an investigation of agents and actions. I mean, vaguely do remember the agent is the one who's doing the action, and the action is what I'm trying to do. That we're not the agent of the action till the action happens. But the action doesn't happen without an agent. And he showed that therefore, neither one has a nature. There's no such nature as being an agent and no such nature of being an action. There's only the nature of an agent doing an action and the action happening when it's happening. And we go, okay. But then that would imply that the Sarani, I'm taking Sumati to his doctor's appointment after this class, the Sarani that goes out to start the car is not there until I'm going out to start the car. And I'm not there as the car starter until the car is starting. And that once this car has started, the Sarani car starter is not there anymore. That now it's the Sarani car driver. And then it'll be the car stopper. And then it'll be the, right? And it's like, you know, for Nagarjuna, it's like, see, that's how it works. And for me, it's like, well, then which one am I? Don't I have to be there already to be the doer of the action? We've already shown that it just can't really work that way. But we go, no, we insist. I have to be there first. And that becomes chapter 9. So shall we read it? Where'd we leave off? Pauline, you didn't get to read, I don't think.
I did, but I can read. Some
Okay.
say that the one who has looking or hearing or such, or feeling and the like, among others, and those that relate, should be present prior to such objects. If the entity involved were not present, then how could there be a looking or the like? Thus, the entity involved should be present prior to this.
Yeah, so he's summarizing Arkachik. I have to be there before I see anything. Come on. I agree. Don't you agree? Janet, 9.3.
For what reason would we call what we do an entity involved which were present prior to any looking, or hearing, or such, or any feeling and the like? Thus, the entity involved. Do I have? Oh, sorry. That's it.
Right. So if there is a me there before I'm starting the car, why do I call my me the me that I call it before I'm starting the car? Well, because it's me. I'm just me. It's like he's saying you can't be just a me and be a doer of something. Your me would have to include, like what you call yourself would have to include what you're doing in that moment. It seems like that's what he's saying. Let's see. If there is a me there first, and then I'm a me looking, it's like the goer going and gone. At what point does a non-goer become a goer? Because a non-goer can't go. And a goer can't be a non-goer. So how can a me not looking at a tree suddenly be a me looking at a tree? If the instant before I was a not looker at a tree, how does a not looker at a tree ever look at a tree? Right? And ignorance goes, you just turn your face towards the tree and open your eyes. And now you're a looker at the tree. And it's like, yeah, but at what moment did that happen? Right? That's the analysis. It clearly happened. I'm looking at the tree. I'm not a looker at the tree. Well, but if I'm not a looker at the tree right now, I'm also not a looker at surfers. I'm not a looker at right? Remember that argument that Mixed Nuts has been doing? The surfer in Indonesia is part of the causes of the baby born in Africa because the surfer didn't prevent the baby from being born. It's like everything I'm not seeing now is the cause of what I'm seeing now, because it's not the other thing I'm seeing, which blocks me from seeing what I'm seeing now, because now I'm seeing that. So which one are you? Please. The one not seeing everything else in the universe so that you are seeing the tree? Or are you the one seeing the tree and so not seeing everything else in the universe? And what happens between the moment you stop seeing the tree and I start seeing the microphone? Is there a space there where I'm not seeing anything? Or is there a moment when the tree overlaps the microphone? You know, and in my experience, it goes from tree to computer screen to microphone. So, right? But I'm saying, my Kachika is saying, there's a me, independent of all of that, who's there first, that then all of that happens too. And Nagarjuna is saying, get real. Like, just check out your own experience. If there's a me independent of all that happening, you should be able to stop it all and be a me with nothing happening. And if you could do that, what would you call the me? You couldn't call it anything, because to call it something would be to be doing something. And you're back where we were before. So the me that's there first. Let's go on.
Can we say the seed that ripened?
Exactly. Oh, the seed that ripened. So let's follow that thinking. Okay, so seed ripening. I like to think of it as hyphenating the words into one thing. Me seeing ficus tree. It would have to be me seeing ficus tree and not everything else in the universe. Okay, that's the seed. And then the seed shifts. And now it's me seeing microphone and not everything else in the universe. And then the seed shifts again. Me, right? Then we would go, all right, so then now I'm the me seed shifting me. And we would look to see if I'm still holding on to a me that's the same inside every seed, instead of being able to actually identify as the process happening, right? Which is where I think it's all going. Is we identify with the subject side, and then there's object interaction happening all around. And we're getting more clear that the subject side depends on, for what it is in the moment, on what's going on in the moment. And that subject side is shape-shifting, and we're learning how to live with that identity of change. But then, where is I going with this? But then is like the ultimate to disidentify with the subject side completely? I don't think so. I think even as fully enlightened beings, you still have an awareness of a subject side, right? A me, an other, and an interaction between is still in the awareness of an omniscient being, I think. But is our identity limited to the subject side? Right? My current identity is limited to my subject side. I don't identify as what I'm experiencing. I identify as the one who is experiencing. And my own like cogitating and using words to try to explain the sense that I get is that growing towards fully awakened is growing towards this identity that includes all of it. An identity that is subject-object interaction between. Right? That still has a subject, but my identity is bigger than my subject. I don't know how to convey that because it isn't, it isn't in my direct personal experience yet. It's in my thinking awareness. But it feels like the ramification of what Nagarjuna is pointing out when every time we go, no, my me has to be the thing that all this is happening to. And he goes, well, keep checking out the me that you think is the thing there that it's happening to. Can you find that me? Yes, we find it, but can we find it independent of the what's happening? No.
Can we deconstruct like we were doing yesterday in the morning?
Right. We deconstruct.
And we would try to find it, right?
We would try to find it. Would we ever find it?
No. Well,
no, right.
I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm saying, okay, my identity, okay. It's just that my identity is so wide because I have to play with all my consciousness, with all my hips, and I would have to start deconstructing from that. But by that time that I'm just saying, okay, sense my sensory, what I'm touching, something happened already before. I'm out of it, and the vision kicks in, and my mind kicks in. I don't know. There's so many things that we have to be omniscient to go by the three spheres in such a way, but it's nice to think of that we can try to deconstruct at least in small pieces.
Right. And piece by piece, we like we're actually trying to deconstruct our own me, subject side, in order to reach our empty nature, our no self nature. And yet we're doing it with a deep state of mind that is afraid to reach it because it's gonna really show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that me that's been in charge since forever doesn't in fact exist. And it doesn't want to give up. It doesn't want to give up. It's so slippery because it's like, does a self-existent me exist? No. Has it ever existed? No. Is there anything that can disappear then? No. Does it believe it exists? Yes. Is it afraid to not exist? Yes. Can it not exist? No, because it doesn't exist in the first place. And it hears me say that and it goes, yes, I do. And something will happen today to show me, very clearly that it believes so strongly that it exists, that it colors my whole reality. And it's going to fight me every step of the way of getting to the place where English doesn't work. It sees its own non-existence. Right? Is non-existence possible? No. But is the non-existence of my self-existent me possible? Not only is it possible, It's reality. It exists. But the closer we get to it, the more we resist. You know, it's like our seeds refuse to let us go there. It's crazy. It's irrational.
Nagarjuna, I think he's trying to take us to primordial wisdom, Lama.
Totally.
Yeah, he's just making us deconstruct little by little and make us aware that, we have it, it's there. It's just that our staying seats by vijnana, by our ignorance,
Right.
just covering a little bit. It's covering.
Right.
So,
Like mud around the Buddha, remember from Uttara Tantra?
yes, from the Uttaratranta. That's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Just like mud. But it's there. It's there. I like to think of it like that. It's there.
Yeah. It is there. Okay. And it's a thing. Oh man, there we go again. Well, if it's a thing that's there already, it has some nature of its own. And so it's there for me to find. And it's like, oh, I need a Nagarjuna chapter. Because I fell for it again, right? Just watching my own mind go, oh, okay, I understand. There's this thing. Oops. Yeah. Somebody had a hand up that went away. Who was that?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
I had some difficulties with the words, with the me and the identity. So in our usage of identity, so there's a me, it's how I identify myself, and my identity includes all the roles I play in different parts of my life. So, but it's still kind of a subject side that is separated from interaction and object. So it's a part that is distant, let's say, so disconnected.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the words like we say it's potential, but there's some uniqueness. It's the thing that you also said, and then we think there is some self-existent uniqueness in the mind stream needs to be separated from the other mind streams. So there is a uniqueness, and the uniqueness has the potential to be everything at once, like subject-object interaction. It's the potential that's ripening in every instant.
Mm-hmm.
But it is still in its uniqueness as it's happening, separated from the other mind streams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get somehow lost in this train of thought because it's complacent to think there is some self-existent uniqueness.
Yeah.
So from there, there's this part of a me, and I know I'm more than this me that I'm now here with this body. There's much more to it, but it's still kind of attached to the uniqueness thing.
Yeah.
It's not getting rid of it's not the ego anymore. It can be the potential to be like the Buddha, but it's still this.
Right.
There's still this uber me
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
has something,
there.
you're right. The uniqueness has something to do with the necessity. The uniqueness has something to do with the three spheres. Oh, there will always be a subject side, object side, and interaction between, even as we're omniscient. And it's let's say what defines the subject side is it is the imprinting happening. And the imprinting happening can only happen to the one who's being imprinted. A Buddha can't imprint our mind. They can teach us something so we can imprint our mind, but our subject sides never merge with another subject side. So the
My-
answer to that lies in the three spheres.
May I ask another question to this?
Uh-huh.
So we are experiencing everything unique to ourselves
Mhm.
due to our ripening. But we say that Buddhas experience everything ever happened, happening, and going to happen at the same time. So I was wondering if all the Buddhas have kind of the same. I mean, like, we are still separate and we have our own unique ripening, but the Buddhas who have this vast, omniscient, seeing all, everybody, everything at once in all times, they should, this is just my thought, they should kind of share the same reality so that everybody sees everybody in all times, and then they should be having the same thing, just we only see our own small box. I'm not sure if I got it correct.
Right. I've spent a lot of time cogitating all of that, trying to sort out, which is, maybe a futile exercise, but it's helped me understand other things to try to think, what would it be like being, Buddha's all there at the same time, based on what I've learned about what it is to be a Buddha. And so if you think about it, like, they don't all become one Buddha, because each still has their subject side in their three spheres, which means each's Buddha paradise is unique to them, and they are aware of every other Buddha's Buddha paradise unique to them. So they're all aware of each other's Buddha paradises. They're all like sharing each other's Buddha paradises. And so my Buddha paradise is unique to me, and you and your Buddha paradise is aware, right? Is directly experiencing me and my Buddha paradise, and you and your Buddha paradise. And I'm uniquely experiencing me and my Buddha paradise, and you and your Buddha paradise. And you could say in that way, we are all having the same experience, but it's not the same experience. It's the same, like, allness of everything, but it's still not identical, right? Because each one's mind stream is still unique to them and omniscient. Right? It's like,
So teacher, I like to ask, sorry.
yeah, okay.
So you're saying that every single Buddha have their own unique omniscience. Okay. So do they know they have their own paradise, and a different Buddha has their own paradise? Are they omniscient enough to know what the other Buddha is thinking?
Yes. They're
So-
directly experiencing it, yes.
So then how is it unique? There should be the general, overall omniscient. So
I
what
know,
is
they
the,
should all merge into one, shouldn't they?
yeah, so what is the uniqueness of the individual Buddha's mind stream of the omniscient? I don't
I
understand.
don't know. I don't know.
So
I'm
there is,
experiencing it from over here, and you're experiencing it from over there. I don't know. I really don't know.
okay. But they do know they are omniscient enough, even though they have their own unique omniscience, but they are omniscient enough to know what the other Buddha is thinking.
Yeah. Not know it, experience it directly.
Experience directly. Interesting.
Yeah, I like your term. They're omniscient enough.
Yeah, because since there is unique omniscience in every individual Buddha, so are they omniscient enough to like
Yeah.
experience directly of the omniscience of the other Buddhas.
Right. Yes. I don't know. It's like omniscience should be omniscient, right?
Yeah, that's
And
the
everything is everything. How can there
that's
be
the meaning of
uniqueness?
omniscience.
I know.
Then there is unique omniscience.
Right. If omniscience meant everything becomes everything, then everything would merge into one and there would be one. But there's no such thing as one big one whole.
And yet there is this ultimate reality, which should be to omniscient beings in their unique perception of ultimate reality. It should be the same for everybody. Should
If
it?
there was an ultimate reality that is a thing,
Yeah,
that
no.
would be true,
Okay. Okay.
right? What's really
It
meant
is
by
fun.
ultimate reality?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Nothing is anything but the process happening, seeds ripening, seeds planting. So, like, ultimate reality is not a thing. It's a description of a process.
Yes.
And it never stays the same 2 instants in a row. So you can't ever say there's ultimate reality.
And
Right?
yet
Well,
they're experiencing everything at the same time.
that is how we have to describe it. But I
Mm.
hear the words and it's like there's something off in saying they're
Okay.
experiencing everything at the same time.
Okay.
I think I asked before whether they can Buddha exhaust their omniscience seed, but I forgot the answer. So how do they continue to plant seeds? By helping, right? They are omniscient, and then that's why they can help. That's why
That's why
they don't exhaust their omniscient
Right.
seeds.
That's why they emanate.
That's why they emanate.
Right.
So they will forever be omniscient.
Right.
Mm.
It's forever perpetuated.
Mm.
Our Buddhahood will be forever perpetuated.
Mm.
Dear Lama, can you please explain once more the description of the process of ultimate reality? I didn't get to write it all.
Yeah.
Please.
What did I say? Ultimate reality is the process of seeds ripening, seeds planting.
Okay. Of course, it includes the 3 spheres there,
Correct.
like in a simultaneous
Right.
way.
Right. Because with every seed planted, it's planted with 3 spheres. So every seed
Ripened.
ripened will have the 3 spheres.
But how in my mind goes, okay, seeds ripened. How do the spheres play there? It
With
also
every-
needs to be an experiencer, right?
Right. Right. A seed ripens
Ripen
as
anew.
me experiencing that.
Okay.
That's
And I'm
the
planting again.
right. And then just by experiencing it, if there was a space between experiencing it and responding to it, there'd be a space where you burnt that one off before you've planted new. But there is no space of time between that. So the seed ripens into the experience, and by experiencing it, we've started the replanting already. We have a response. And
So I
in
guess,
the response, there's the 3 spheres.
okay, so I guess our intellect then plays the big role by burning it off, right?
Just experiencing it uses up the seed. The
But
intellect,
yes, but intellectually, I cannot burn. I mean, I'm by burning it off, I mean right now by purifying it. I
okay,
need to use my intellect by that, because by the time the seed is cracked open and burnt off, seeds ripen, right? That and seeds are being planted at the same time.
right?
Let's just imagine that a bad seed ripened
Mhm.
and I react ignorantly and I replant the same seed.
Right.
But it's already planted because it happened almost my reaction was instantaneously.
Right.
So I need my intellect to be aware that I planted an ignorant seed and I
Right.
need to burn it off, or at least I need to damage the seed.
Right. You can use your intellect to damage the seed that got immediately replanted with the ignorance that happened before intellect could even act. Right.
Yes.
That's how we use our intellect
And our wisdom.
and our wisdom to use what we've learned to have that instant regret. Right.
Okay.
Technically, we burn off, we purify past behavior by the seed ripening. That's one way to purify. So, when we have some unpleasant thing, our school of thought goes, you can moan about the unpleasant thing, or you can say, great, I've purified. And it's true. When
I
we
always
do our 4 powers of purification, we're trying to damage those seeds before they go off or modify how they're going to go off. So just in terms of the term that we use when we say burn off karma, right? You want to make it clear whether you're talking about burning it off by experiencing it or damaging it with some process.
Yes. I always thought that ultimate reality was when all my seeds were pure and clean and I'm just replanting them. It's like the ultimate reality.
Yeah. Yeah. That there's a difference between ultimate reality and the term ultimately. So
Oh,
ultimately, we get to the
that's
place where we are replanting everything with kindness. But ultimate reality is this existence by way of the process of seed planting, seed ripening of consciousness, of awareness.
okay. Thank you for the difference, dear Lama.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We shared right through our break time. Need a break time? Yes, no. I have 3 no's and 1 yes. Let's let the yes have a break
I
time.
need
No.
coffee. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
I will go then.
I will stop the share and pause the recording. Okay. Then I have some coffee. Yay. So we're investigating for the one who's there before they do anything. Because we're insisting that I have to be there before the next thing happens. So Roxana, you're at the top of my screen now. Share with us 9.4 and 5. I think it goes beyond the page.
Thank you, dear Lama. My pleasure. Suppose that, even in the absence of a looking and so on, this one could still be present. Wouldn't it then be true, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that even in their absence, those would have to exist? Isn't it some example which delineates someone? And isn't it someone which delineates some examples? How could one exist with some particular? How could there exist some particular without someone? I don't understand the last one.
Yes. So we are holding that there is a me there before I'm doing something. And Nagarjuna is saying that, well, if that's the case, then he's using looking, hearing, etc. But let's use me before I'm the car turner oner. So if I'm a me there before turning on the car, but then I'm going to go and turn on the car. Nagarjuna is saying, if I'm there in the absence of turning on the car, then doesn't it have to be true that the turning on the car is there waiting for me to get there to do it? Doesn't the looking have to be there also if the me not looking is there? In order for the me, the not looker, to go and become the looker has to be there somewhere for me to go step into it. In order for me to be the not starter of the car, to be the starter of the car and the key, it all has to be there for me to get into it and start it. And it's like, right. I couldn't start a car if there wasn't a car. I couldn't start a car with a key if there wasn't the key for the car.
But the same happens with if you're moving towards the car, you would be the mover towards the car, or
Right. Then the
the
moving
holder of the key, or
exactly. It has the
everything at the same
moving to
time.
the car has to be there already.
Right.
If the me is there not moving to the car, and then I'm going to go move into the car, I have to go into the moving into the car in order to, you're exactly. And Nagarjuna is going, yay, Roxana, because that's ridiculous, right? To say my moving to the car is already happening somewhere, I'm just not in it. And I'm going to get into it, and that's going to move me into the car so that I can step into the turning the car on, because that's already there waiting for me to step in to do it. That's just ridiculous. But he says that would be the consistent, like that would be the ramification of our belief that there's a me here and a car there and a key, and I'm not a car starter and I'm going to become a car starter because I existed as a not car starter before I started the car, the way my mind thinks I do. Because I don't relate to the me now and the me now and the me now and the me now. I don't relate to myself in that way. I relate to myself as a me who then does this and then does that and then does this. And that me ends up then needing to be protected, needing to get what it wants, needing to do this in this way, not that way, right? That me makes things go wrong. So in this series, he's saying, if it's true that there's a me that exists independent of what I'm doing, but then I can go and do that thing, it means that that thing must already exist in some way for me to step into doing it. So that's what this last part exists. The particular means the thing I'm doing. So can I exist as a starter of the car when I'm not starting the car? No. Can there exist a particular without someone doing it? No. Can the car be starting without someone starting the car? No. It takes both together at the same moment. What moment is that? Can't find it. How does the car start? I don't know, but it does. Let's go on. Janet, 9.6, please.
It's not the case that one is present prior to all looking in the rest. One of those other among looking and the like is delineating upon occasions other than this.
Let me see if that's the end. Yeah, it is.
So we can see someone in the past, but we don't really see how they really were.
Yeah, good. So it's not the case that we're there before we do what we're doing. It seems to me there's a typo here, that it shouldn't be delineating, it should be a delineated. One of those other among looking and the like is delineated upon occasions other than this. So when I'm looking, I'm not hearing. You know, that's kind of an argument. Can you look and hear at the same time? And technically what our awareness is doing is looking, hearing, looking, hearing, looking, hearing, when it seems like we're doing it at the same time. So he seems to be saying that it's not the case that there's a me there before I'm looking at something. I'm not the looker until I'm looking. And then with those other hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, feeling, those also are not delineated until you're doing them. Right? Like the looker looking isn't a looker looking until they're looking. The hearer hearing is not the hearer hearing until the hearing is happening, I think is what this is trying to say. The me starting the car is not there until I'm starting the car. The starting the car is not happening until I'm starting the car. So I can't be there first. I don't know, that doesn't follow yet. In my mind, that doesn't follow. If the me starting the car isn't there until I'm starting the car, and starting the car isn't there until I'm starting the car, there can't be a me there who's the car starter before I'm starting the car. But there can still be a me there, a me not starter of the car, right? My kachik is still like grabbing. It's like, I understand what you're saying, Nagarjuna, but still there's a me there first before this process that you're talking about starts to happen. No, and he would bang his head against the wall.
A me there, but you're not the starter of the car. You're just
Exactly. There's just a plain old me.
but you're not the starter of the car until you start the car.
Exactly. So in those moments before I start the car, I'm a me, not the car starter.
Yeah, I'm a me full of potential. I could be me, a passenger of the car.
Right, right. The me of potential,
Yeah,
which would be a non-me. Right? Technically, it's a me doing something else.
Washing the car.
Right. You know, intending, the me picking up my purse, the me putting on my shoes, the me going out the door, the me getting into the car, the me, okay, will the real me please stand up? Right. That's chapter 9's conclusion. The me that's there before anything happens. That's the me. Will the real me stand up? What's there on the table when all the people and all the dogs and all the flies go away? Yeah, that's the identity we're aspiring to be able to hold is the me. Even as we are starting the car, as we are interacting with our world, can we interact from this, what am I really? This potential to be what's happening now, and what's happening now, and what's happening now. Our potential to be doesn't suddenly disappear because now we're being that. Does it? Our potential to be is still there. So if you, think of yourself with like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, right? We have Sabha in the form of a flower looking at each one of us. So think of yourself being looked at by 6 other people. And like intellectually, we can get, each one is physically seeing me differently. Each one relates to me differently because they've all had personal experiences that are different. And I still hold that there's a me here that's the real one, unique to me, that each one is experiencing differently. And just leave it at that, and it's enough to go, wow, that's cool, right? To be the potential, to be this different one for each of the ones that are looking at me right now. So I have that potential to be what each of one of you is experiencing right now. And just because each one of you is experiencing me in a certain way doesn't then negate the potential. It doesn't, my potential doesn't go and become something and so disappear. But rather, the potential is still the potential. And you add another person, right? And there's just still the potential to be what it is for them. And for the next, and for the next, and for the next. And yet, our habit is to identify with a me that's somehow the same, right? Because the one I'm with all the time seems to be the same from moment to moment. And that must be the real one. And all the rest of those that everybody else sees, yeah, that's unique to them. I'm happy to be that for them. But the real me is this one. And then that one then, is happy if they like me and unhappy if they don't, and blah, 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 right? Because this one that I think is the same, that I know is not the same for you, but I think it's the same for me, is only one of those potentials. It is ripening. I do have a me that's not the me any of you know, because I'm the only one who knows it. But that's out of that same potential. And I'm working to identify as the potential that has a me instead of a me that has the potential. Right? There's just a little glimpse of a difference. When I identify as the potential, then it's like, from my side, everything that's coming out of my potential, right, is like, it's all coming out of this potential. And so in that way, it's like I'm providing everything for everybody and make it all an offering. And right, it helps us shift to this feeling versus old human way of this, right? Everything coming out. Me, instead of, whoa, everything is this manifestation of me, right? Not subject side me, but me, the process. Being, right? Being whatever I am for you. Right? Meaning, I'm talking from my side, but I'm doing it. I'm wanting you to think of it from your side. Yeah, you already are everything for everybody. Anybody who knows you. that unique, wonderful you that they know. It's cool. Here in 9.6. Let's go on. Joanna, please.
Suppose there were none present prior to all the acts of looking and the rest. How then could there be that one present prior to each of the acts of looking and the rest individually? And suppose that the very same person looking could also be the one listening, as well as the exact same one doing the feeling. It would be incorrect in that case to say that they could be present prior to the individual acts. Suppose that the one looking could really be the other, and the one listening, other, or the one feeling, other. When they existed as the one looking, they would have to exist as the listening, as a personality that was nonetheless a whole variety.
You think that's the end? Yes. So get that? We already talked about it. If you're one whole one, there before anything happens, then how could that one then become the one who's looking? And then if you can do it with looking, go from not a looker to being a looker, then why isn't listening happening at the same time? You know, and we go, that's silly because there's nothing to listen to. You only look when there's something to look at or for. And then something to listen, so you turn to listening. But he's saying, no, if you're saying that you're there first, and then looking happenings or listenings happenings, then it should all happen at once, not one by one. I don't quite get his logic. Why should it all happen at one by one or not one by one? Because it's not depending upon you. There's always stuff there to listen to. There's always stuff there to look at. There's always stuff to smell. There's like the stuff, if those actions are happening to us, why do they happen one by one? If we're just there for them to happen too. He says, the fact that things happen one by one tells us that we're not there before they happen. Because if we were there before they happen, they would happen all at once. I don't know, we have to kind of think that through. It's like, because if they're happening independently of us, they're just happening. That's silly. They're not happening independently. We still have some time. Let's carry on. That was the last of the verses that Geshe Michael translated the whole chapter. And then in his subsequent classes, he would take a verse or two or three from each chapter and then talk about what the chapter's conclusion was in class. And then all we would get were these few translated verses, and they flashed them on the screen for a little while and then they went away. And I've not been able to find anybody who has those flashes from the screen And I have to admit, I've not gone back and dug into knowledge base and gone through, because when I first saw them on the screen, they weren't really legible for me anyway. So I'm assuming that the recording isn't there, but it would only give us 2 or 3 verses anyway. So I switched over to Lama Christie's translations, which they worked on together. So they aren't not Geshe Michael's. He just says they're crude compared to his final when he worked on it later. So I switched over, and we have these through chapter 15, I think. And then once we get past Lama Christie's chapter 15, then we're like, what are we going to do? So let's go on. Where were we? Pauline, please, 9.11.
Sure. Sure. Who is it that sees and hears and feels and all the rest? Without this one, the rest of them would never come to be.
Yeah, who is this one? What does your mind say? Me, the real me. Oh, man. What's the punchline answer to who is this one who sees and hears and feels? Right? The one that's doing it. The one that's constantly shape-shifting. But I admit, my own mind answers that question. Me, it's me. Elsie, 9.12, please.
Whether it comes before or after, or at the same time, as the seeing and such, it simply cannot be. So give up all these fantasies that claim they do or don't exist. Here ends the 9th chapter of wisdom and investigation of who might have been there before.
Yay.
In my dim memory of things that happened in the past, I kind of remember we used to have these homeworks, and there were no right or wrong answers. And there was a homework. Who is the one who sees and hears and feels the rest? Is it you? Is it coming from your seeds? Do they not exist at all? All of the above or none? And then you would say, there's no right or wrong answer.
Good for us.
I'm listening to this. I'm thinking of dependent origination.
Yeah.
And if I were to understand correctly, dependent origination and the interconnectedness of it, the ramification of it, as you say, dear Lama. I mean, I could be right now in Janice's shoes and just going out there to her place and making sure that she's okay and providing all what she needs for a perfect job and coaching her for another interview and so on. So I think that, well, in my own mind, I need to explore and analyze more my actions if I were to really have in mind dependent origination and the causes of it. So
Right.
it's not just what I see and hear and feel, but the ramification of my responses.
Right. Right. Dependent origination is where our power lies.
Right.
Our power for change.
That's
to
right.
create change. Because it's within that we're making our decision how to respond.
Right.
Trying to get off react mode and into respond mode. How do we choose our response? We have the vows as guidelines. Bottom line, kindness. What's kindness? Any deed that if somebody did that to us, it would be pleasant. That's the criteria for kindness. It's what the vows are all about. But it really is so simple.
So simple that we forget.
Yes, because we're so on automatic pilot because my seeds are all so selfish.
Right. Oh, thank you for the awareness, Dear Lama.
But like we already live by seeds. It's not, right? We're not changing reality. We're not changing our natures. We're not changing anything like that. We're just changing our habit. We're changing a belief system. It's probably harder. It would probably be easier to change the physical world than it is to change a belief system. But a belief system, once you crack it, it's gone. And that's the power of seeing emptiness directly. But growing into that, we're still cracking that belief system. So it's not like we're not making any progress at all. As we chew on these things and we get this glimpse of, what I think is the real me and how that real me is impossible, we are chipping away at all the seeds that have ever been planted with a me that is real. And as we chip away at them all, our ability to have these ahas gets bigger, deeper, more impactful, so that our behavior changes can grow. And then our wisdom grows and our behavior changes grow. And we get this beautiful upward spiral, which we are all on. So yay. So next week we get a special presentation. And I'm going to make myself a note that after that, we'll dig into chapter 10, Fire and Firewood. And finally, we will have gotten to the review that we started at the first of the year. It took us 6 months to review. I think we're doing pretty well because it took us, what, have we been doing this for 3 years? Took us 3 years to get to chapter 10 and then only 6 months to get back to it. So see, we are making progress. So well done. Remember that person we wanted to be able to help. The seeds we've planted, we will use to go on to help that other stop their suffering ultimately someday. And that's an extraordinary goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you, lead you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it. By the power of the goodness that we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So let's dedicate to that, the perfect opportunity come along for Janet, for a work through which she will feel inspired and hopeful and helpful and useful. That she will carry out with ease and grace. And may it be so.
May it be so.